Good morning. This life going to be short and quick because I'm on my way to work. But I wanted to share this discussion that I was having, that I'm currently having because it's ongoing. Excuse me, with a Facebook friend. And this discussion, and I thank her for the discussion because it is lively and it is respectful. Morning Gary, which most people cannot do when they have different opinions. So I have to give credit to my friend. Whew. I might be sounding like a winded. Okay, let me slow down because I'm walking to work. Now, this discussion started because we were both posting on somebody's video that was morning that is blaming Rowley for the crime. So my friend decided to post and say, how could Rowley be held accountable for all this crime when he is one person? The heart of man, her bottom line is that the heart of man is the problem. And my response to that is, yes, the problem lays on the shoulder of Rowley because he got into government, into power as the Prime Minister by bashing the prior Prime Minister, saying that, good morning, Rowley said that everything Kamala was doing was wrong and that if he was given the opportunity, he would do much better and he would improve crime, he would create opportunities. He sold himself as the better candidate. So today, crime under Rowley is worse than under Kamala and he has to be held accountable. Now, I entitled this video, We the People, morning Kita. I entitled this video, We the People Are the Problem, because we are the problem. And I'm always disturbed, deeply disturbed, when persons who have quote and unquote education, Haisha, and I like to say quote unquote education because I am not a hypocrite. I am a fan of education. I spent most of last year, most of last year, working on my MPA, and it was a big sacrifice. But I also understand that formal education in and of itself alone is not education. Some of the people in my family and people that I know never went to secondary school, but you cannot tie them up. You understand? So I don't just look at diplomas. I also look at somebody's ability to reason as education. So when somebody tell me, good morning Nick, when somebody tells me when they have education, certain things, it always makes me say, this is why, you know, having education, formal education alone, don't cut it. You have to have common sense too. Now, in first world countries, politicians and other people who hold high positions, and even in the working in the corporate world, people get fired when certain things happen on their watch, even when they're not knowledgeable about it. In first world countries that work. Good morning, Nigel. And it disturbs me when we have Trinbagonians who live in first world countries like myself, and when you come back to Trinidad, you shuffle your mind back into that Trinidad way of thinking where you allow and excuse everything because you're a party faithful. I don't understand that. I'm walking fast, Sean. I'm walking fast. That's all I hear. I sound like I'm catching my breath. Yeah. I don't understand that. How do you excuse an incompetent leader and say, well, how much he could do? He should have known, as much as he's in Parliament, that he could not do the damn job. But you know what? He never intended to do the job to begin with. His intention was to get in there, be the boss, be arrogant, and they do shit. So yes, when things go into hell in Trinidad and Tobago, Raul is to be held accountable. Simple. Simple. There is no leeway for him. He said enough and plenty about Kamala when Kamala was Prime Minister. He said when a government blames the former government, that government must go. So now he must go. Because every 2 words come out of him out, he's blaming the former government. That's why you are in government, Mr. Rowley. For you to right the wrongs. And since you cannot do the job, you need to go. Do you know how many people? Do you know how many people? Nicholas, you see you and this pungent talk? Behave yourself. You know how many people have not been paid for weeks, fortnights, and months? Now, I want to get back to my friend's premise of the heart of man. Now, I want to know how come the heart of man, I took a step back, is so bad in Trinidad and Tobago, such that alright. How come the heart of man in Trinidad and Tobago is so bad, such that we outpace other islands? How come the heart of man not as bad in New York, that have more people in it and had less crime? We cannot just use these logics as reasons why we excuse incompetence in government. You know, this what we go do, and it's only one man. Excuse me. In other countries, how many prime ministers and presidents that have won, and that person shoulders the burden of righting the wrongs in their society? In Trinidad and Tobago, we are so married to the idea of being loyal to parties that have done absolutely nothing to improve our condition. Some of us, you know, by the grace of God, we're doing well. But when you sit down and you're thinking and you're talking about the heart of a man, how you expect a man, and listen, I want to put this out before I say this next piece. I am not condoning or sanctioning crime. I'm not. But I want people to understand, who are starting to feel happy now that I reach here. I want people to understand that there are people that I know that have committed crimes. Small crime, big crime, I don't know how to term it, but they've committed crimes. Why? Because they decided that, hey, I've been trying and I'm not getting nowhere. And when you hear them talk about people that they know that getting through and getting ahead because they know somebody and they can commit a crime and nobody can come in and lock them up, they're not going to be patient anymore. So people committing crimes for different reasons, you know. These young boys with the AK-47 that they find, you know, there's not good little boys. I don't know why they're committing crime, but obviously they're committing crime. So I'm not going to cry over them and say, well, I'm sorry for them, or I'm not going to say well done, because at the end of the day, it's the victims who will cry and it's their parents who will cry. They know the story. But the point I am trying to make is, when you have failed governance, that has repercussions across society. A government is supposed to, what's the word? Governance dictates society in many ways. You understand? And when people know that they can commit a crime and get away because the police detection rate is less than 50%, what you think they're going to do? What you think they're going to do? In New York here, if you have to write an exam to get a city job, you have to pass with a 70% mark, right? You have to make 70%, a 70% grade. 70% in any grading system up here is a C. And imagine in Trinidad and Tobago, we're not even getting a C in detection in the Trinidad and Tobago police force. So what are they really telling all themselves? So I really can't understand, and I refuse to excuse people that make excuses for this failed government and failed Prime Minister. What one man could do. That one man should have known he was not competent to do the job. He's been in Parliament how long? He's had a first-hand view of what goes on in government, and he should have known that he was not up to the job. But we want to sit down and make excuses what one man could do. Excuse me, he's the Prime Minister. And you know what's even funnier to me? People are making excuses for this man. People who catching their ass. People who don't know how they're making it, how they're paying the rent, how they're buying food for the children, how they're sending the children to school. Making excuses for this man, and this man using taxpayers' money to fly out to first world countries like America and Canada and other places where they're enjoying the amenities that these countries have. Why? Because they are properly governed. What you're telling yourself, Trinidad and Tobago? But when a party comes out like the Progressive Empowerment Party and trying to show all the way and say, hey, this is why we need to do different, this is why you need to vote for us, this is why you need to do, tell yourself, well, listen, I'm born at PNM, but I ain't go there at PNM and I don't want a PNM jersey. Or you have all kind of things to say about the leader, or he's a con man, or this half, or three-quarter, or they never meet the man. It's hearsay and bullshit. He recently had a failed interview with this TV personality, and the woman, everybody with eyes could have see that this woman was not focused on the interview. She was focused on getting to that point where she will call him a racist. And people were saying, it looked like he wanted to hit her. What all he was drinking? What all you on? Seriously speaking, what you on? When logic does not guide your conversation, you need to stop. That man was not going to hit that woman. Come on. Come on. At the end of the day, Trinidad and Tobago, let me tell all you something. All you can sit down and bury all your head in the sand. All you can call God from now until the end of times. And I am not someone who's not religious. No, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. There's a difference. You understand? There's a difference. Because some people are so religious, they're too holy to help people who need help. All these churches that collecting tithes, why it is when people hungry, they can't come to all you and all they can't shelter them. Why? But all you know to ask for money and say, God said to give money, but all you know, God said to use that same money on people who in need. But all your pastor driving Mercedes, Benz and nice car that when it rain and he mash gas, all you ask getting because he is stopping. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't mean for this life to go long because I have to get to work. I have to work for my money. I have to make my 7 hours. The point I am making is that we need to stop as a people. We need to stop making excuses for failed governance, incompetent leadership. Rowley is not doing a good job. He has failed. He has failed in his bid to make Kamala's government look bad. As a matter of fact, his government looks worse. I would love anybody to name 5 things that the government has done in any sector to improve conditions to Trinbagonians. Now people, since the government has come into power, how many people have lost their jobs? Every day people complaining they cannot get paid. People working, imagine URP workers cannot get paid for 4 fortnights. It's URP they're working, understand the money done a big. And they ain't getting paid. What you want these people to do? What you want these people to do? Crime will never done in Trinidad and Tobago under bad governance. That is the truth. And when Philip Edward Alexander comes on every night, he comes to educate and expose the ills of society. But yet you all knock any man. Why? Because you don't like he's a Syrian. And we had an Indian prime minister. We had Indian prime ministers. We had Negro prime ministers. And where are we today? Trinidad and Tobago is made up of all ethnicities. So if a Syrian end up, or half Syrian as he does say, as the Prime Minister, what is your problem? Is he not a Trinbagonian? Is he not entitled to have a say in what goes on in his country? He does not wave any flag other than Trinidad and Tobago flag. So you see this nonsense, but oh, he's a Syrian and he's part of them. Until you can prove that, shut your ass. And until you can say better and say, well, look, I have done this and I have done that, that beats his record, keep your opinions to yourself and stop the bacchanal. That is why we in the situation when Trinbagonians love too much of bacchanal. We need to stop. If we stop dividing ourselves into Indian and Negro and Syrian and Chinese and we live as Trinbagonians, just why telling all you all this nonsense that the PNM and the UNC has been propagating for years, it will stop because then they will see that the citizenship has awoken. It's time for us to arise, Trinidad and Tobago. We live in a time where we have the internet. There is no information that you need that you cannot get. Anybody tell me what time it is now? I need to clock in. I talk in sense, but I need to make my coins too, right? We are the human race. This is Trinidad and Tobago. We need to stop this and stop making excuses. Kamala has failed, Rowley has failed, and the past governments have failed. They have done nothing for us in 55 years. Look at how much money Trinidad and Tobago had running through its coffers. But check and see. Okay, I have 15 minutes. Thank you, Gary. Check and see what we have. What do we have for all the money that we've generated in 55 years? It is time for change. It is time for change. Stop voting along racial lines. Vote for the better man. Thanks, Rena. Thanks, Sean. We need to vote for people who care about the country. And do you understand that the government of Trinidad and Tobago is controlling the media such that they are not giving PEP coverage? That is why we ask people to share the live, not because I want to be famous. I am very comfortable being in the background. But if people who want a better change for Trinidad and Tobago make a live and talk about the Progressive Empowerment Party and let it be known that yes, it is being led by Philip Alexander, who is not getting a fair shake, and each one of us say share the live, and 50 of our friends share that live, and 50 of those 50 friends share that live, understand then the coverage that we're not getting in the media, we will be doing it through Facebook, and more people will know that they have another option. Because some people go live with Annette. Okay, hold 1 second. Oh, okay, invite. Who's Annette? All right. I don't know who Annette is, but she wants to join the live, and that's fine. But the point is, it is time that we stop playing, what should I say? We stop playing, is possum? Yeah, stop playing possum and stand up. Because someone like me, I don't live in Trinidad and Tobago, but I have family members there, and I am a carnivalista. When the strains and pressures of living out here in Uncle Sam land gets rough and tough, and I work hard, I want a vacation, I want to come home and I want to play my mass, and I want to be able to do it in peace, comfort. But when you come Trinidad and Tobago, exactly. When I come to Trinidad and Tobago, my friends take care of me. They don't let me take taxis. Why? Because the crime is so high that I might jump in a taxi and they may never see me. So my friend took time off of her work to make sure that I get to and fro safely. That is the Trinidad and Tobago we living in. So while yes, I love Trinidad and Tobago, and there are certain things that are just intrinsically beautiful home. And I have family home, and I will always come home. It is scary to come home. So please stop telling me nonsense about incompetence and making excuses for it. There is no excuse for incompetence. There is no excuse. There is no policy that is being fully enforced. We don't need new laws. We need people who will follow the laws and enforce them, and who will use the money of the country to improve the country and not fatten their pockets. Hi Andy, Anne-Marie, Ross, Sean, Kita, and everybody else. That's what we need. We don't need someone who's going to go into power, and when his daughter comes from America, and I'm sure his daughter did not have any problem getting money from her daddy, while everybody else in Trinidad and Tobago suffering to get Forex. When you go to the bank, you only get $20 a day. What you could do with 20 US when you come America a day? But his daughter didn't have a problem with that, and then he gave her how much money? It was $1 million for some some kind of expose or whatever she had. Everybody's not that lucky to have that kind of a daddy, and we shouldn't have to be that lucky if everything was being run properly, but it's not. So people, let's wake up, let's stop the division. Trinidad and Tobago will not become the country that we want it to become until we become Trinbagonians first and everything else second. And it's time for the PNM and the UNC to go. Please check out the People's Empowerment Party led by Philip Alexander, and listen, judge the man for yourself. Stop listening to propaganda, because I am sure each one of us, there is somebody in our circle, was in our circle, who don't like us, hi Lisa, who would sit down and say, oh, I know something about ALLIE that would blow she out of the water, bacchanal. It always has somebody who knows something or feel they know something that could destroy you. So judge a man on his character that you see on the live, listen to the policies, and look at his record. Okay? Now, everyone, you all have a blessed and wonderful day. And what I'm going to say, each one, share the news of the PP. We need to get the PNM and the UNC out. They're not working because they don't have to work. You know why? Because they're saying who else to go vote. They have to vote for one away. So if I is opposition 5 years, the next year you in government. And that's the musical share they're playing. Time for us to change the game. Time for them to know that, hey, people have another option and they will exercise that option. But we need for people to know that that option exists. A lot of people don't know about PEP. And the reason is because the government is squeezing PEP in the media not giving PEP fair play. So everybody, tell somebody, share the life, make your own life, talk out, encourage friends, you know what I'm saying? It's going to take some work, but together we could do it. All I got to go. Let me go earn my money that I have to work for, because I have to pay for everything I have. I'll talk to you all soon. Have a wonderful and blessed day. Time for change. And the only way it will change if we the people have to change what we do and who we vote for. Change will not come by praying on our knees. God help those who help themselves. Let we help ourselves and vote the PNM and the UNC out. Bye guys. Love you guys.